Jersey, normally the home for the New Jersey Nets and the New Jersey Devils of the NBA and the National Hockey League. But today it's going to be the scene for truck and tractor pull championships featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks. And we've got some great action set today, Mike.
Well, Brian, it's going to be a wonderful show. There's a lot of good things going on. We've got 2 rubber-tired trucks, 2 track vehicles. They'll come out and do competition, and then they'll come back with the 2 against each other, the track vehicle against the rubber-tired vehicle, looking for a winner overall that the crowd will pick here this afternoon. Also, we're going to be seeing some great modified tractor action and some good four-wheel drive stuff.
All of that and more when we come back. Stay with us. The Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Truck Pull Championship, featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks, is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Double Trouble, Wild Child, Dixie Digger, Virginia General, and Barnstormer will all have to do it again.
They'll all attempt to do it again. I don't think you're going to see anyone go out on this second round, though. I think you're going to see them bury down before the end of the track. And I know the man on the sled, John Ellenbaum, has got it in his mind that they're not going to make it out.
Well, Gary Lowry in Double Trouble, getting ready to make his try at it. He's got it moving. The question is, can he move it all the way down the track?
That's going to be the mark to beat when we get a measurement on it. And I think that you've seen someone that's going to be right up at the top of this class. That was an excellent hook all the way around for Double Trouble. Well, Gary did a great job. And listen, he's off the hole. He is really on the motor hard. I mean, it's a good hole shot, a lot of tire speed. The motor is working extremely hard. It sounded very good as it went down the track. All the way around, a tremendous job of driving on this truck. Went to the right-hand side of the track, and as we mentioned, there hasn't been anyone over on the right-hand side, so I think it's a good job for Double Trouble.
For Gary Lowry in Double Trouble, pulls a distance of 130 feet 3 inches. He sets the mark to beat in this pull-off in the modified truck competition. Hooking up to the sled right now is Rob Perotti from East Canaan, Connecticut, in a 53 Chevrolet pickup truck. One of these short wheelbase trucks. Mike Gallaway, how's he going to do here?
He'll do well. Look at that left front tire, how much air pressure is down on the tire, and the air pressure down to get the traction. There it is. Looks like it's completely flat, but he's got it down probably to about 4 or 5 pounds of pressure in it to get a good bite on it. This truck, I think, will be the truck to beat in the class. He's really been on a hard-charging path the 2 or 3 times he's been out recently. I'll tell you what, it's a new motor in it, a new set of heads, a new injection system, a lot of new pieces on this Chevrolet truck, this 53, but it's a good job, and it's going to be tough when it's over with.
So new, he hasn't even painted the left rear fender yet. He's hooked up to the sled on his way.
Perotti takes the lead. There's no doubt about that. He'd like to have took the sled out the second time, but the box topped on him, put a lot of pressure on him, and shut down. A tremendous job. Rolled and nailed the motor. A beautiful pass on Wild Child. Let's watch him as he leaves the sled. Really getting a bite. He goes about 5-6 feet before he just airs the motor up there. You see the tires break loose, start to spin. A lot of dirt coming off of them. The traction's there. The motor is great. It's big horsepower, and Rob Perotti is on his way. He's really got his eye on the full pull mark. Again, not going to make it, but you see the box topping out, the box coming up the ramp and putting the weight down on the pan, causing a lot of friction, pulling a lot of weight, shuts him down on the end. Rob Perotti with Wild Child, great pull.
For the Wild Child with Rob Perotti at the wheel. Takes it 151 feet, 3 3/4 inches down the track to take the lead. And coming up next, the Dixie Digger. He's got a long way to go to try to beat the Wild Child. Hilton Clark from Winchester, Virginia, out of the Blue Ridge Mountains, will be giving it his best. One of 5 trucks in the pull-off, modified truck competition.
Well, I really personally think this man has got a good shot. If anyone can beat Rob, it would have to be this Dixie Digger truck. You're looking at 610 cubic inches of Chevrolet motor setting down inside of the engine compartment. Big horsepower, a lot of cubic inches. He went out real easy a while ago, but he's got a good, a good strong mark to try to beat. Rob Perotti laying down that 151 3 3/4 mark. A lot of pullers, but this guy's got a shot at it. The big cubic inch, I think, is the name of the game here this evening.
I was going to ask you, Mike, is bigger always better and pure horsepower does the job?
Well, generally speaking, yes, but there's certain conditions you get into, certain kind of tracks with the dirt layout. little horsepower motors will beat the big horsepower motors on a loose track that there's not much traction. You're going to see the little horsepower motors really shine, but you have to have the horsepower here tonight to put one out.
Well, we're going to see if big horsepower does the job as the Dixie Digger gets ready to hook up and go. Got the sled moving and great traction. Pushing hard, but I think he's going to come up a little short of the mark set by Rob Perotti.
He couldn't make it reach this pass. It was a good pass all the way around. It just goes to show that Rob Perotti had the right combination when he went down the track. A beautiful job on his part. The Digger comes back. Dixie Digger, 610 inches. You'd think he could just really knock on the door right behind Rob Perotti. He'll probably end up right there in the second place for measurement-wise at the current time, but not enough horsepower to get up to that 150 plus.
So the tail of the tape on the Dixie Digger, 143 feet 4 inches, comes up a little short of first place pull by Rob Perotti. A nice job, nevertheless. And the next man to try to challenge.
This gentleman really knows how to read a track. If anything, his driving abilities is going to help him tremendous amount on this kind of track. He's got the sled set to the far right. The truck is kind of angled. He's going to come across the track a little bit. I think that's going to help him a lot. He's really got a good hook going for him if he can just keep the momentum up.
Oh, that weight transfer came forward. Smoke pouring out of the engine. Lauren Dingus comes up short of a first-place pull, but he sure did it in spectacular style, Mike Gallaway.
What I think happened, he probably built quite a bit of heat in the oil on the first pass, and then coming back in this second pass, thinned it down quite a bit. Looks like it probably blew out from underneath the valve covers and got on the headers. It wasn't anything really to be worried about, but it looked a lot worse than it was.
Well, Lauren is much more concerned about the measurement than he is about the smoke under the hood. Let's take a look at it again.
Well, he backs into the sled, puts the sled on the right-hand side of the track, and kind of angles the truck out of the hole. Truck never straightens up, but the bite is good on it. The horsepower is good. He's doing a real job of driving, but watch it on the end now as you start seeing the smoke come out, and that's just oil coming out on the headers and immediately burning, turning into smoke. It's nothing to really worry about. It didn't cost him a lot of dollars.
There's a red light glowing in the dashboard there.
If that red light will go off at any time, he will immediately kill the motor. That is oil pressure. And when the oil pressure is up wherever it's programmed, be it 30, 50 pounds, whatever, that red light will stay on. But the instant the oil pressure drops, that red light will go off, and that's how the driver knows that he's in trouble. He doesn't have time to look at the gauges, but that red light will tell him that he's got motor problems.
That's kind of backwards from your car and mine. Usually we worry about it when a red light comes on in the dashboard, and here he's going to worry about it if it goes off.
Exactly.
So for the Virginia General, a spectacular run, but only 138 feet 7 1/4 inches. That's third best as they stand right now in the pull-off in the modified trucks. From the great city of New York, and a big crowd all the way up into the rafters here at the Brendan Byrne Arena. This is normally the home of the New Jersey Nets in the National Basketball Association and the New Jersey Devils. National Hockey League. Here's Barnstormer 2.
Mark Martin was really trying his best to put this thing out and make Rob Perotti work for his win today. But what we saw, he staged on the right, went to the left, had to bring the vehicle cross-track. I think that's a situation right now. The guys are getting a lot better bite out of it. They're pulling the sled theoretically a little bit further doing that. But I think it's the best to their advantage to go across the track because the traction will be so much better.
So for Mark Martins and the Barnstormer 2 from St. John's, Michigan, 141 feet 4 1/2 inches of dirt digging down the track, and he joins the elite, taking third spot behind Hilton Clark and the winner of the modified truck class, Rob Perotti, who's down on the floor of the arena right now.
Hi, Rob Perotti, Mike Gallaway.
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Good. How was the pull today? You looked great. All the way down the truck looked like it hooked great.
Well, we were doing okay. We got a new engine. We just started with that 2 weeks ago. We're still in the process of doing the truck over. It looks a little rough, but it seems to be running good anyway.
Well, it looks like it's running real well. How did the track feel today, Rob?
Well, it's a little greasy, just like ice down on the line. But after you get out, about 35, 40 feet, it takes pretty much all you got.
And that's where you really opened the motor up about 35 or 40 feet out, wasn't it, Rob?
Yeah, you just got to kind of drive it. That's where the rest of these guys are falling off. This has always been the way this track kind of works. And if you hit it just right, you get lucky. They're gaining. We got them. They'll be right there tonight.
Well, congratulations. We thank you very much, and I look for a good season for you.
Thank you, Mike.
Up next, another special treat for the fans as Gary Collins wheels the Bud Funny car back into the sled to hook it up. The Budweiser Avenger from El Dorado Springs, Missouri. Tell us a little bit about this vehicle, Mike.
Supercharged Hemi Keith Black type motor in the fiberglass body as Gary Collins sits down inside of it. He's a farmer there in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. Really does a great job with the pulling vehicles. He has a pair of them here today. The Avenger with the blown Keith Black in it. Here comes Gary. He put the Budweiser Avenger through its paces down on trackside. Gary Collins, El Dorado Springs, Missouri. Always a big crowd pleaser, and this is one beautiful funny car.
Let there be no doubt about it. The Budweiser Avenger gets the job done. Full pull down the track in a special exhibition for the crowd, and they love it. Let's take another look at a beautiful run by a beautiful vehicle. Great detail on this car. He obviously spends a lot of time taking care of the small things that make it such a beautiful car.
Front end comes up. Great ground speed on it. A lot of ground speed. He's going real fast down the track, pulling the sledges. Kind of touches the ground, corrects it a little bit. Right out the door, full pull. Absolutely picture perfect for Gary Collins.
We're getting ready for the modified tractor competition. 7,200-pound modifieds here at the Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Brian Drebber along with Mike Gallaway, and our first tractor up is going to be Dirt Sling. Blown Aries engines in this tractor from Weldon, Illinois.
Just about as tough comes when you get down to pulling. Bill Lashner, there's Willie, his dad, just to his left.
He almost can't get it stopped. He's going so far and so fast down the track. Bill Lashner just about takes the thing right out of the stadium here, Mike.
Bill Lashner has all the capabilities of pulling this thing from here to Weldon, Illinois, if he could afford the fuel. Gets his helmet off. You know, when you take a run like that, you ride a vehicle the way Bill has just done, so much confidence in that gentleman that's operating that sled and that piece of equipment back there. As, you know, each one of these engines are pumping out about 1,500 horsepower. He's got two inlines that are hooked crank to crank, and then the one up on top with the clutch by itself into a transfer case. So he's putting all three of these motors to the ground, and the Dirt Slinger absolutely flew with the sled.
This is a beautiful piece of equipment, and American designers and builders have put together equipment like this, and nobody else can do it. Here's Bill Lashner at the wheel with three engines going down the track. He's got the front wheels in the air. Another example of the great power that he's got there, Mike.
Beautiful job. He carries the front end. That balance on it's perfect. But watch him on this end right here. He lets off of it. Pretty rough ride going up the top of it. You know he had to have a little bit of apprehension about what was going to happen down at the end of it. But Bill steps off, and it's considered a full pull, no doubt about that. Talks to his dad, Willie, about the pull itself. We're very glad to have Willie back with us now.
Dirt Slinger 2 puts the mark to beat on the board for the modified tractors. Everybody else has got to get a full pull to match him. It might be a pull-off unless he's the only one.
Well, saw Willie there just a moment ago. There's a shot of Willie. He's got a little book that he keeps track of all the pulls and the footages. Willie's been very ill and been in the hospital. He's healed up now and back out on the circuit. He's 72 years young. Would like to say happy birthday to him. He's got a birthday coming up real soon, and he is one of the finest people in this sport.
Hooking up right now is Milt Bergman from Fort Recovery, Ohio in Rambunctious 2 with a pair of Allison aircraft engines to get this one down the track, Mike.
They're stock 1,710 cubic inch Allisons. Milt has a pair of tractors with a pair of Allisons on them. Now, there's 24 exhausts. It's a V12, 2 intakes, 2 exhaust valves per cylinder. Motors were designed in the 30s. They were the winning force in World War II in the airplanes over there, overseas when they was fighting. They have centrifugal blowers on them. They were used for a number of years and still used some in the unlimited hydroplane racing. Now they've found a home in pulling. Milt Bergman, very, very good with these Allisons. He's built some tremendous combinations. He lives in Fort Recovery, Ohio. He's a farmer in Fort Recovery. He's got the motors running. He's watching the oil pressure real close.
Boy, the eyes tell it all right there. He's really concentrating on it.
Fired the other motor. He sees the throttles in his right hand.
Rambunctious, I guess, Mike Gallaway. He had that tractor all over the place.
Well, the bite was much better than Milt Bergman had ever thought it would be, and the situation was that Milt had all of the weight on the front end that he could spare. And when that happened, he stuck it up in the air. Just nothing he could do but ride it out. He could not keep the front end down on the ground. It doesn't hurt to get it up a little bit, but anytime you're getting up as high as Milt, he's actually getting on the wheelie bars, which are two bars that run down the back of the tractor that would keep it from turning over. But watch the front end of it really lift. When it lifts like that, you know he's getting a great bite off of it. It's loading and unloading the tires. That's where you're getting the rocking of it. All Milt can do just to try to keep it down on the ground. It just won't happen. The weight box catches him. A good run from Milt Bergman, but not enough to put him in the pull-off.
Rambunctious, too. Not a full pull. He got 133 feet 10 inches down the track. We'll be back to the Byrne Arena after this. Right now is Milt Bergman from Fort Recovery, Ohio again. This time he's driving new and improved Rambunctious. He had a Rambunctious ride on his other tractor, Mike. See how he does with this one.
I think that probably learned all he could off that first ride, but this one's got tremendous amount of horsepower, more horsepower than the other one. This one is fuel injected on alcohol. The back motor is fuel injected. The front motor also fuel injected, but the front motor is turbocharged as well as fuel injected. So he's building a lot of horsepower out of these Allison V12 aircraft engines. And Milt's got the capabilities of putting this thing into a pull-off situation. There's a shot of the turbocharger.
Nope. No question about it. He is out of the stadium. He's got the front wheels up on the wall of Rambunctious 2, a full pull for Milt Bergman.
That's going over the edge, I'd say, as the crowd gives their approval to Milt Bergman with Rambunctious.
Got fire in the hole over here a little bit, too, as the turbocharger's spitting out little flames there. Let's take another look here at Milt Bergman as he gets ready to hook and go. He's breaking traction right off the line, Mike.
Goes to show you that he's got a lot of horsepower, because several times during the pull, as of then, he let off of it to get the front end straightened up and bring it around. Here again, he's doing it. Again, it's drifting outside. I thought he would back out of it, but he had the momentum. You saw his right hand pull off of the throttle, but the momentum carried him on out and over the wall, and look at the right front tire.
Milt Bergman, new and improved Rambunctious, is going to force a pull-off. He goes all the way down the track. Our next competitor is going to be Gary Mills from Falston, Maryland. He's driving one to go. And this has got a T-64 General Electric turbine helicopter engine in it, Mike Gallaway. A little different look for this modified tractor competition.
Well, Gary's now got it building up, puts the fire to it. They unplug the starter from it, the battery area. They don't make a lot of noise, and they just kind of float around. And actually, the reason that being, oh, look out. I mean, the fire show is on. There's actually no part that hooks the motor to the drive line. That's all done through air and the rotation of the vanes inside of it that's producing the power to that shaft. As Gary lights it up again as he backs one to grab. He's only got one this time, and that's putting it out the gate. You notice the weights hanging on the side of it right there. We talked to Gary a little bit about what the weights do and why they have. At various positions on the, got weights hung on this tractor. What are they for, Gary? Why do the weights?
We have them spaced all over the vehicle, mainly for balance on it, depending on the conditions of the track.
They help you drive the vehicle?
Yeah, this is correct. You weight it. If it's a loose track, you need more weight in some positions than so you can move it where you need it.
Gary, what do these things weigh?
The big ones weigh just about 100 pounds.
They don't look like 100 pounds. But I guess it is. Gary's ready to go. He's got his fire suit on, helmet in place, and rolls the slack out of the chain. There's one of his good buddies riding on that right fender. Let's see how it works out. He needs a full pull as he showers down on the 64.
More than good enough. Gary Mills gets the front up one more time. The crowd, I think, as the flash bulbs are popping, and Gary Mills, too, makes a full pull down the track, apparently. He fires it up on the starting line, Mike Gallaway. Let's see how he's doing here.
Gary's got a lot of tire speed, and that's essentially you've got to have it on this kind of a pull. The track, I think, is rutted up a little. Guys over to the right-hand side. We've seen a lot of tractors go to the right. Gary's got his tires cut all the way to the left. It's not staying on the ground long enough. He lets off of it coast out, shuts down way before he gets to the wall of the mound of dirt, and that's enough to put him in the pull-off. It's going to be a great one.
Gary Mills has one to go in the pull-off to win the modified tractor competition, but he's got some tough guys to beat. Nick Conrad wheeling Sodbuster Plus with two blown Chevrolet motors coming out of there. He's from Burlington, Wisconsin, and he's got to get a full pull to get into the competition right now. Three tractors before him have done it. He's going to try to force a four-way tie.
Nick Conrad is, by profession, a landscape artist. Does landscape work there in Burlington, Wisconsin. A pair of Chevrolets.
Well, it occurs to me those big tires are going to be doing some landscaping here for what he hopes will be about 160 feet of pulling.
Full pull on. He gets two motors as a lot of people do out of three motors. And that's a great shot as you take a look at what it's like to be sitting in the stands and watching the action this afternoon. Nick put it out, a lot of horsepower here again. He got a much more of a bite than is suspected out of this track, and it's put Nick into a situation where he will not make the pull-off.
Obviously a little bit disappointed there. Nick Conrad, Sodbuster Plus, came up a little bit short of a full pull, and you can see that he would certainly have liked to have gone all the way down the track. Take another look at it.
Let's watch him as he rolls the slack out of the chain. Never been known to baby a motor. I mean, if you've got the horsepower, he wants to use it, immediately. Watch the front end begin to lift on it. The bite is there. Nick's trying to drive it. He wants to stay off of the brakes as much as possible. That hurts the momentum. But you see the weight box topping out. The friction is building up between the pan and the ground, and it shuts Nick down right there.
Sodbuster Plus with Nick Conrad at the wheel dragged the sled 152 feet down the track, but came up short of a full pull. Next up, the pull-off in the 7,200-pound modified tractor.
Buy a Peerless faucet.
Starting off with Dirt Slinger 2, Bill Leischner, new and improved Rambunctious, and the turbine-powered one to go are in the pull-off, modified tractor competition.
Bill doing a great job. There's a good shot of the tires as he gets ready to hook to the sled. Watch him go to work, raises that left hand in the air and lets it go his way.
He's going in. Bill Leischner, a full pull. They changed the weight transfer on the sled. Didn't phase him a bit. Gary's engines took him all the way down the track.
Mind he had to work for it, though. It wasn't a walk in the park. Dirt Slinger actually really had to work for that pull.
That's a smile of a confident driver, and a good one, too.
Well, you see the dirt that he slung up on the fenders of that vehicle.
Is that why he named it Dirt Slinger?
Front end is up. Look at the torque from the motors, the bite of the tires, and it's up on a ride. He's all over the track, dragging the sled every way he wants to, but the power is there. He's got good ground speed. Look at the dirt coming off of it. Bill sets it right up on top over the edge and shuts it down. A beautiful job, a double pull for Bill Leischner. Well, there's Jack. Jack is a pit man for Bill Leischner, Dirt Slinger. Video camera in hand. I think personally that this thing that they're doing right here has helped pulling as much as anything, because used to a driver absolutely had no idea what the vehicle was doing as it went down a track. Now the guys videotape the tractors as they go down the track. They can see what the tires are doing, the way the frame is acting, the conditions that they're driving under. They will tape each tractor as Milt Bergman gets backed in and ready to go to compare them with their pull. And I think it's a big innovation to pulling.
Is Jack taking pictures of the competition? And if he is, he's going to be focused right now on Milt Bergman with new and improved Rambunctious. The second of 3 tractors in the pull-off, 2 Allison Aircraft V12 engines. And thanks, Dad. Well, we'll see. He's able to get it all the way down the track.
Well, his dad furnished the shop that these tractors were built in there in Ohio. You see the 2 in his right hand. Those are individual throttles for the vehicles. He operates them both with one hand. Notice him moving one up a little bit, engaging the clutch.
Boy, he's grunting for everything he's worth, pouring smoke out of the turbine there, the turbocharger on that front engine, and he was working for every inch of track he could get, and I believe he's going to be a little short of a full pull on that one, but a fine run for Milt Bergman.
Well, Milt did a great job. I think that the turbines, oil loaded, the motor went down and lugged down so much that you're going to see the oil go by the seals. That's where you got the. But see him operating the over there with his right hand. You're seeing him operate the engines. Let's watch him as he goes down the track. I think this is an interesting shot as we go down the track. And remember, those throttles operate the engines onto the immediate right is the front motor. The one on the left is the rear motor. And you notice that arm is locked straight. Well, Milt is really concentrating on it, wide open down the track, and you see him steering a little bit with his left hand, just kind of keep control of it. Saw how rough it was right there. Doesn't back out of it until it loads him right on the end. Watch him pull it back. There's where the smoke comes. Beautiful job for Milt Bergman. It's not enough to win this thing or even force it into a double pull-off, but it's a good job for Milt Bergman.
Earlier today, Mike Gallaway had a chance to talk with Gary Mills, who has one of the most innovative new tractors on the circuit.
I'm with Gary Mills and his brand new tractor, One to Go. And Gary, tell us a little bit about the tractor.
Well, the tractor's a T64 GE turbine, develops about 2,800 horsepower.
Now, Gary, this turbine is quite a bit different from some of the other turbines we're seeing.
Yeah, a lot of them in the past have been running either Lycoming or Allison, and now they're updating a little bit and going to a little bit newer styles and a little bit more horsepower.
What kind of vehicle, if you would say, did this engine come from originally?
A lot of your larger helicopters use these engines in either 2 or 3 configurations.
Gary, after you come out of the turbine engine, what do you do with the power?
In the gearbox that we have here behind the motor, the engine turns backwards, so we have to run a gearbox to change direction on it. And then we go on back through the drive line into the transmission and then on out to the rear.
Well, it's brand new. Gary's ran it some and been real successful. Let's see how he does today. Take a look at this starting line area when he gets backed up there, and I think you can see it right here. There's quite a hill. And what has happened is that the situation is when you roll the slack out of the chain, the tractors are all sitting in the same place. That's where they've dug the dirt up, but it has left quite a mound of dirt behind him. So what they're actually having to do is pull the sled over this mound of dirt. That picks up a little momentum, and at that time, you got to really be into the motor and get your ground speed going. I think that's what's putting these guys down at the end. A good, sharp driver seeing that right here. He goes over the hill right there. He's downhill from here. Front end is up, and Gary's on his way.
Digging towards. Going to be close. You can see the rear axle of the tractor is at the finish line. I'm not sure from this vantage point if the front of the sled is, and that's what counts. Gary Mills, One to Go is the name of his vehicle. So the distance for Gary Mills in the jet-powered One to Go from Falston, Maryland, 160 feet, 10 inches. Came up a little short of a full pull and moved into second place behind Bill Leischner and Dirt Slinger 2. Third place goes to Milt Bergman's new and improved Rambunctious. Down on the floor of the arena right now, we've got the winning driver in the modified tractor competition, Bill Leischner.
Hi, Bill Leischner, Mike Gallaway.
Hi, Mike.
Well, congratulations. And Bill, that thing really hooked up hard on that second pass.
Yeah, I had to drive a lot harder the second time. The guys are pretty tough on me here, and I hit it pretty hard out of the hole. I opened it up pretty quick this time. I think you could see that.
You think that was the possibility of the thing to put it out the second time around?
Yeah, the first time the motors only ran a little over 5,000 RPMs because I didn't get going quick enough. And this time I knew it was going to be pretty tough, so I come out real hard.
What does it look like running at that dirt pile down there on the end of the track?
Well, it's a little scary coming up there pretty fast like that, but John's got a good sled, and all I have to do is back out of the throttle, and it's going to stop.
Well, Bill, congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate being here, and I want to thank Budweiser for his opportunity to pull here. Real fine show.
We'll be back with more right after this. Pleasing happening. When we say happening, we're talking about you can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it, you can smell it. And this is the Budweiser Boss with Gary Collins at the wheel of a beautiful, beautiful four-wheel drive truck.
This is a 1989 Ford Aeromax, and it is the brand new Budweiser Boss. Absolutely beautiful. The truck, last time he had it out when it was in the other configuration, was very pretty. I'll tell you what, it is just out of this world right now. Ken Donay, the competition director, saw something in the motors that he didn't want to check with. There's the blower restraints that the blower's what's to come off of it. It's an L9000.
We got a leak up here on the front engine.
Yeah,
right?
that little fuel leak coming out of the right there. Gary just says, I won't drive up the mound of dirt, I'll drive around it. And the box top out probably at maybe 100 foot. And Gary Collins actually dug trenches when he pulled that sled down the track. It's a beautiful job. It's a tremendous truck. And look how hard he's loaded. He's really pulling a load. You see the bite of the tires. They're cheering him on. The box is topping out almost immediately, but Gary Collins hooked. Now here's the trick. Watch him turn the front tires and drive around it. Drives around the mound of dirt, says, I think I'll just park right here. Of course, when you drive the Budweiser Boss with that much horsepower, you can park anywhere you want to.
Well, he needs that much horsepower to carry that big six-pack home. Gary Collins and the Budweiser Boss climbing out. There's a man that really gets the job done.
I'll tell you what, a true gentleman of the sport. He's absolutely second to none. He is a great guy.
Championship Series, the event that a lot of people come to see. The Monster Truck Competition in the Byrne Arena. And the first vehicle on our track is going to be Headhunter. Glenn Meyer at the wheel from Bergenfield, New Jersey, nearby, driving this Chevrolet-powered vehicle.
Brand new. I think Glenn said he's had it out about 2 weeks. We talked to Glenn just a moment ago about what it's like with the monster truck. Glenn drives the Headhunter monster truck, and we're going to see him in action. Glenn, what happened last night?
Well, I changed the leaf springs around. Last week I broke them up in Connecticut, and we changed it over the week, and the drive shaft turned out to be a little too long last night, so we had to pull it out. We shortened it today, and hopefully today everything will be a lot better than last night's show.
Was it back and ready to go?
It's all set, ready to go.
How was the action last night? How did the truck perform other than the drive shaft problem?
Truck ran fine. This is basically about the second show I've done in an arena, really, so I'm kind of new at this, and, you know, not maybe as good as the best shot, and hopefully in time I'll be able to compete with some of the better guys.
Why a monster truck? Why did you build one?
Well, to me, it's like a fantasy vehicle come true. It's always something I wanted to do. I was like, as a little kid, I always liked to wreck things and put them back together, and I really get my kicks out of crushing cars.
Well, some of these cars that they wreck here tonight will be impossible to put back together.
Now, these vehicles, Mike, have all-wheel steering. We're starting to see some street cars coming out with four-wheel steering. But how does he steer the back wheels on this big truck?
There's a switch inside the truck, usually mounted over on the left-hand door, a small toggle switch that controls the rear tires, makes them move to the left or the right by activating this toggle switch that you have on the left-hand door. And it's a very simple setup, operates through a hydraulic steering, and it's real easy to do with these type vehicles. And very convenient to have, by the way.
Maneuverability would really be a problem if it wasn't for that rear-wheel steering, obviously, because this, I believe this vehicle would have a turning radius of about a parking lot. He's going at him again. And it's interesting to note that car in the foreground, the last car that he rolls over, is a Newark police car. Now, do you think he gets an extra thrill out of crushing a couple of police cars? Because the first two vehicles in that line there are out of service.
It has to be a rush. A little back.
Right, he's going to take another shot at that police car there.
He'll bring it to a stop right up on top and shows off the hydraulically operated bed, and he'll stand out for a warm round of applause from the crowd as they take a look at the supercharged engine under the hood. Glenn steps out and gets a round of applause. Beautiful blown motor.
A crowd-pleasing exhibition of monster truck car crushing police car and all. Actually, the men in blue are to be commended for contributing one of their vehicles out of service for the good of the cause here in the Byrne Arena. United States Hot Rod Tractor Pull Championship featuring monster trucks, and there's one of them right there. Headhunter Glenn Meyer at the wheel.
Now, who do you think they came to see?
Bigfoot coming out of the tunnel. This is the truck, I guess, that made this sport famous.
Absolutely. And the gentleman driving it is the man who has brought all the prominent attention. That is Jim Kramer, #1 driver with Bob and Marilyn Chandler out of St. Louis, Missouri. They get ready to put it to its paces. Of course, Jim Kramer has never been one to go lightly on Bigfoot. One thing about it, they use Bigfoot. Look at that.
All 4 wheels off the ground. You said it. Jim Kramer's not babying that truck.
Looked like a missile launch when he went up to the cars, nailed the throttle right straight up in the air, and landed on top of them. Uses that steering. It's just second nature to Jim Kramer, the rear steering. He's been doing this so long. Jim Kramer definitely puts it through its paces as he lines back up. He'll get another shot. There's some of the young fans that are here to see Bigfoot and see what Bigfoot can do. The crowd going wild as Jim Kramer lines up and watch. He's got some speed on this one. He's going to watch him hit the throttle. Look at that.
Flash bulbs are popping all over the stadium as Bigfoot goes all the way in the air, jumping over 5 cars, landing on the last one there, a police black and white, and the fans love it.
I talked to Jim Kramer last night about driving Bigfoot and what it was like and what you had to do to prepare to it. And Jim says that the real secret is just to roll till you get within about 3 feet of the first car. And when you get that close, just absolutely nail the throttle, get all the horsepower. Don't let off of the throttle until you have the rear tires hitting the cars, and then you can let off and it'll settle down to the ground. Of course, now that was for an amateur. Jim Kramer, he'll do it just a little bit different. He gets out about 6 feet. Not much of a car there to launch off of. Beautiful job for Jim, though, as he absolutely destroys them. Full protection gear. He's got the fire suit on, the full face helmet on. He's got a neck collar on. He also has a ladder completely strapped in the vehicle, and in doing that, it's all for safety part of the monster truck industry. And Jim Kramer will step out for a round of applause from the crowd here at the arena, and he really does a great job. First thing he does, though, is check over the underneath of Bigfoot and make sure it's ready for the next round.
They talked to Alan Tura about this tank vehicle called Goliath.
Well, Alan, tonight's kind of a dream come true as far as a monster truck driver is concerned. You're going to crush a police car.
Well, I like crushing cars, and police cars are probably more privileged than anything.
Tell us a little bit about the new Goliath truck.
Well, we came out with it about a year ago. It comes on M4 high-speed Army tracks. It's built back in 1944, and 44 years later, Ford put a 1988 Ford sheet metal on top of it, and it's powered by a 460 Ford. The body completely backwards to any other tank in the country. We wanted to utilize the weight balance better, so we put the drive gear in the back, the engine in the back, the transfer case toward the back, and come out with a exceptionally good wheel stander as far as, for tanks concerned. Most tanks can't get it up quite as high, but we get up a little bit more front end clearance because of the neck.
We'll see how high Alan can get it tonight in just a moment. We come back to action with his M4 tank. The new Ford body set up on top of it with a supercharged Ford motor in the back of it. The track drive vehicle becoming very popular in the monster trucks, destroying the vehicles. These things weigh so much. They weigh about 25 to 22 to 25,000 pounds apiece. So when they go to the cars, they destroy them. They just cut them up in shreds, much like running them through a grinder with the big tracks on them.
Well, Bigfoot didn't leave much to be crushed, but if there's any left, Goliath will take care of it.
Alan Tura really putting a hammer to him on this. And when this vehicle was a tank, it would actually be running backwards to what it is now. Boy, it takes a hard beating. There's no suspension. Alan Tura has set up a situation where he has a subframe that the Ford truck fits on, and the set on shocks, so that helps Alan's ride considerably, but it doesn't take all of the shock of landing on this thing with it. Alan steps out for a big round of applause, the son of Goliath, and it is a nice-looking truck.
Coming out onto the track to take care of what's left of 5 former automobiles is the Virginia Beach Beast, Mike Gallaway.
This is Mike Kapp's Virginia Beach Beast, and as far as I know, this may be the original track vehicle. Mike is a tremendous driver. He handles this thing like a pro. Watch him on the fly. He really puts the whammy to him.
No hesitation. He went right at those cars from the beginning. Some of the hired vehicles kind of paused at the beginning and then leaped up onto the cars. He just rams right into them and powers over the top.
Willie Townsend built this vehicle and owns it. Mike's the driver for it. This is the only track vehicle that I've ever seen turn over. It laid over on its side one weekend when we were doing some competition. I think you're going to be able to get a shot of those straps that are on the windshield area. There's a strap on each side, and look at the parts flying off of it. But there's a strap on each side. There's a strap. What it's actually doing is holding the windshield in. The only major problem they've had with this track vehicle is landing so hard that they're popping the windshield out of it. So they've gone to a NASCAR design on the windshield to keep it in place and to withstand all of the hard beating that it's taking.
Well, at the end of our monster truck competition, what used to be some of the finest in Detroit automobiles is now a flat pile of garbage. We'll be back to the Byrne Arena after this. Well, we've got a special rematch. The fans have voted for their winner in the tired vehicles and the tank vehicles, and it's going to be Bigfoot versus the Virginia Beach Beast.
Jim Kramer makes it look absolutely so easy. He makes it look like anyone in the world could drive that truck over cars and do the kind of job that he's doing, where he's flying through the air. But I'll tell you what, it's a tremendous challenge on your body and on your concentration. Now, there's not a car left to speak of there when Kramer goes up to it, but he's done it so many times. He knows what it takes to put air underneath the truck. And that's what the people came to see. They came to see a 15,000-pound truck get 6 foot up in the air, and Jim Kramer can do it. Let's watch him.
There he goes, all 4 wheels off the ground again. Bigfoot
on the end up in the air. Beautiful job for Jim Kramer.
He's going up in the seats to shake hands with the fans. Jim Kramer and Bigfoot, 6th. This is the 6th in the long line of Bigfoot vehicles. Now, we've got a little bit of problem with the Virginia Beach Beast. Some of the cars that were crushed hung up in the frame over top of the tracks of the vehicle there. He's trying to back it out. He's not going to let it worry him. He's going right at those cars anyway.
Shrapnel, I would call it. Mike will absolutely take the Virginia Beach Beast and do a war dance on top of it.
He's dragged a hood from the car, and he's going to go run back over top of it on his way to the pile of cars one more time. Takes out the trunk lid of the Newark Police Department black and white vehicle there, and he's still got some stuff hung up on that tread.
Well, this has to be the perfect commuter vehicle, and he does it in reverse.
This is an urban assault vehicle right here.
The first car in line, what was a white car, is no more than 3 inches tall. As Mike continues these vehicles with the Virginia Beach Beast. Mike Kapp's doing a great job. He doesn't want to miss it.
How many of you out there have thought about doing something like this? When a guy parked you in on the curb, got a little too close, and you just wanted to ram that other car and run right over top of it? Well, here's a man that's able to live out that sort of fantasy.
You know, about the only thing these cars would be good for now is large frisbees. He's actually sitting on the ground, but on top of cars. It's a great job. It's been a wonderful evening of competition with monster trucks, 4-wheel drives, and dragster tractors.
A great day of competition, both in the four-wheel drive, the modified tractors, monster trucks, and more. We've had a great afternoon. This is Brian Drebber for Mike Gallaway saying so long from the Byrne Arena in the Meadowlands Sports Complex in New Jersey. The Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Truck Pull Championship featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do